Hello everyone, I'm with me, and today we're going to be responding to a video called Why You Should Never Be Afraid to Have Children. Wow, I already do not like this video and I've just seen the title. Okay, let's do this.
So let me just wrap up the sermon by saying this. You know, society has a certain agenda, and it's of the devil.
Oh, God.
And that societal agenda is to promote birth control.
I already can't believe what's coming out of this man's mouth. The devil loves safe sex, apparently.
Society wants you using birth control. I think Exodus 1 shows us why. Because the devil doesn't like it when God's people multiply.
You know, you can use birth control, and then, when you're ready, you can have children. It's not like you use birth control and then never want to have children till the day you die. That isn't how it works.
And while the Mormons are multiplying, and while the Muslims are multiplying, God's people are having 2.5 children, and it's a shame.
Is this guy being serious right now? A group I don't like is having more children than the group I like. Therefore, we should have more children to stop the devil. To an outsider, this is absolutely batshit crazy.
We as God's people need to multiply abundantly, and churches would be filled with a new generation that's growing up and learning the Word, precept upon precept, line upon line, and they're going to grow up and be a mighty army for the Lord, but instead, people are refusing to have kids because they're serving the idols of this world and chasing after materialism, or they're buying into the ideology of the Satan worshiper, Margaret Sanger.
Because society is materialist, they don't want children, they follow an apparent Satan worshiper who probably isn't a Satan worshiper, but I'm just going to give this crazy man here the benefit of the doubt. You know, maybe your religion is going down not because of Satan, but because of the absolute insane shit that's coming out of your mouth. Do you ever consider that?
Because they're being brainwashed by TV and school and everything else, or they're believing in this environmental junk that, oh, the Earth's overpopulated and we need to reduce the population down to 500 million and all this garbage. You know what? That is of Satan, that agenda.
How? I mean, according to your religion, there's going to be billions of people going to hell. If anything, not breeding actually saves people from eternal damnation instead of the other way around. Also, just because you disagree with it does not make it of Satan.
This world's not going to be here forever. Oh, but in the year 2335, the population's going to be too high. This world's not going to be here forever. Jesus is going to come back at some point.
But what if he doesn't? Let's just say, just for argument's sake, let's just say that your religion is not true. In that case, the idea that Jesus will come down to save us is fairy tale junk. From my perspective, Earth is the home that I will grow on and die on. From my perspective, future generations will die because we aren't taking care of it. Why do you people want the apocalypse to happen so goddamn much? Oh yeah, because you believe you'll be saved and everyone you hate will die and burn and scream, etc. Because you have a lot of hate in your heart, and that upsets me. Considering the possibility that your religion may not be true, this world is going to die, and so will the human race if we don't take care of it.
And let the heathen, puncture themselves with IUDs and pump themselves full of drugs that make their wife, grow a beard and everything else. Let them pump all the birth control.
Sure, that's exactly what we want in our wives. Beards.
Let the Egyptian population stabilize, but let God's people become more and mightier. Amen. By following God's advice to be fruitful and multiply.
To be honest, I don't care if you have kids, just make sure you're able to make them decent human beings. Also, make sure you're able to afford them.
And by viewing children as a blessing.
Children are not a blessing, though. They're just children. Our emotional attachment to them is actually very selfish. We made this child, it's ours. Plus, children can cause stress as well as become financial burdens in the long run. We should probably make sure we're able to take care of a child before having one.
Listen to me. Birth control has been a very big factor in the moral decline of this country, period.
Prove it. Show me what's been going on that's been so evil and bad. Gay marriage? That literally has nothing to do with birth control, and even if it did, being gay and being married while gay has no morality to it. Abortions? Birth control actually stops abortions from happening in the first place because it stops the fertilization process. Sounds to me like birth control is doing more good than it is doing harm.
That's what John R. Rice said would happen in 1946. He said, if this stuff ever were generally used, it'll destroy morality. And that's what it has done. You know why? Even today, I've been hearing from more and more Christians that they think fornication's okay.
Oh no, not fornication. Oh, the horror. Get over yourself.
Because the Bibles, these new versions now, the NIV and so forth, they take out the word fornication and they replace it with sexual immorality.
Sounds like the same thing to me, honestly. If you were to say sexual immorality, I would assume fornication and all that jazz.
Now, you know what immorality means? Pretty much whatever you want it to mean.
Kind of like the Bible, huh?
And there are more and more Christians today that are saying, well, as long as you're not a whoremonger, as long as you're not sleeping around, as long as you're not just a complete, loose, promiscuous woman, it's okay before marriage. I'm starting to hear it. When I was a teenager, kids in my youth group believed in it in a Baptist church.
Of course kids that age would believe it. They're teenagers. Teenagers are going through a process called puberty, in which they want to fuck a lot. Maybe God shouldn't have made that process so challenging against his own rules. That would have made things a lot easier.
And more, with these new versions and with this wicked ideology, you're hearing this teaching that says, hey, it's okay to go to bed with somebody that you're not married to, just don't commit adultery, and just don't be a whoremonger. But let me tell you something. That kind of stupidity would not even be possible without birth control, because you'd be producing all these bastard children.
Exactly. Good thing we have birth control. Good thing we have safe sex. Good thing we have condoms. You know, to stop the bastard children from being born. You seem to be going against your own views, sir.
I mean, think about it. If you didn't have birth control and you taught young people, hey, it's okay to, in a committed boyfriend-girlfriend relationship, to have this relationship, you'd be producing bastard children all over the place.
Yeah, good thing we have birth control. Again, you're going against your own argument.
It doesn't even make any sense. But birth control has allowed people to start thinking that way. Yeah, I can fool around, I can experiment, I can be with a few people. No, it's wicked. We need to stay pure until we're married.
But why? Because God says so? Why is that so important to God? Surely he has a plan for everything anyway, so why not? It's all part of God's plan. Try having reflections every once in a while. They're good for you.
We need to abstain from that relationship until we're married. And then when we're married, we can enjoy that relationship and we can enjoy the product of that relationship, children.
But why do we have to have children to be in a successful relationship? Why is the relationship suddenly unfulfilling when children aren't involved? Correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't the stereotype of having children mean giving up your sex life and shit like that? Seems like birth control makes relationships a lot healthier.
And you say, well, I don't want to have that many children. Well, you know what? It doesn't matter what you want because you're not your own. You're bought with a price.
Yeah, don't force yourself to have children, especially when you're not financially stable. Also, does having children increase your likelihood of going to heaven or what? What's all this shit about not having a choice in the matter? That sounds an awful lot like rape to me.
Therefore, glorify God in your body and in your spirit, which are God's. And the world will say, my body, my choice. No, your body is the temple of the Holy Ghost, which is in you, and you're not your own. You're bought with a price. Therefore, glorify God in your body and in your spirit with your God. And look, you say, well, I can't afford it. Look, God knows what you can and can't afford. If God gives you a child, He'll provide.
Sure, God will provide. Just pray and things will get better. Putting all your faith in something that doesn't reliably work is stupid.
He'll provide all your need according to His riches and glory by Christ Jesus. And if He thinks you're not ready for a child, He won't give you one. Because He opens and closes the womb.
Interesting.
And if He decides that you can't afford another one, He won't give you another one. If He decides that it's His will that you have 2 children, you'll have 2, just like Isaac and Rebekah. And if it's God's will that you have 1 child, you'll have 1 child, just like Sarah had. And if it's God's will that you have 10 children, you'll have 10. Unless you kill them, or unless You use barrier methods and natural family planning. And by the way, this stuff destroys marriages.
Having 10 children doesn't destroy marriages, but getting extra help to maintain those 10 children does? Are you fucking kidding me? I hope I'm just hearing that wrong.
You know, the divorce rate increasing also has to do with the use of birth control.
Prove it. You can't just say shit and expect me to believe you, especially when it sounds absolutely ridiculous.
Because, you know, having a normal relationship with your spouse actually improves your marriage.
Yes, exactly. That's exactly what I'm talking about. A normal, healthy relationship where children are involved or not. It's all up to the couple.
Having a normal, natural, physical relationship with your spouse is good for marriage. And today, we've corrupted that relationship with all these weird methods. Because these pills, they affect women psychologically. They affect women physiologically. It's true.
That's why you gotta be careful with stuff like birth control. It can affect you psychologically with enough use. Same goes with a lot of other drugs. Birth control isn't the only way to have safe sex, though.
Look, you don't think that taking hormones is going to change their personality? Hello. Even men who take hormones. Men who take steroids. Have you ever heard of roid rage? Not road rage, roid rage. Because men who take steroids get angry and aggressive, and it's a mind-altering thing. And so are these birth control pills.
Well, steroids are on a whole nother level. You can't really compare the two.
And they create all kinds of changes in a woman's body that are not conducive to that marital relationship. And I'm here to tell you today that God's way is the best way, the natural way, the Christian way. And if you would get on God's program by faith and just step out in faith and say, hey, I'm going to do it God's way, you know what? You'll find that God will provide and that God will give you a lot of joy and happiness in your life. And God's going to bless you because the path to God's blessing is through the door of obedience.
Or you can use condoms.
And so we need to stop leaning on our own understanding. Trust in the Lord with all thine heart and lean not unto thine own understanding. In all thy ways acknowledge him and he shall direct thy paths. Do you believe that? Amen. Okay, God never told you to use birth control. And every example of it's bad. So why don't you just do it God's way? And you know, you say, well, I'm still waiting for my first child. You know, just be patient, keep praying. God waited 20 years to give Isaac and Rebekah a child. Be patient, wait upon the Lord.
Yes, please stop developing better ways to have safe sex. Let's just trust this invisible man in the sky. Let's trust something that is completely unreliable. Let's trust something that has the same merit as praying to my fucking socks. Good call. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please, if like we did, let me know if you want more response videos. Comment down below any response videos in particular that you found on YouTube, you know. It always helps. And if you want to support me on Patreon, link is in the description. And yeah, that is pretty much it. Bye-bye.